You are listening to From Ring to Veil.
I'm Shannon.
And I'm Kim.
And we are your wedding planning gurus.
We take the stress out
and put the fun back into wedding planning. Name changes and the benefits of marriage, episode number 187.
Take a second, subscribe to the show if you have not already. Just click that subscribe button. Take a screenshot if you have a minute and post it to Facebook or Instagram and share us with your friends and family.
We have a group on Facebook called the From Ring to Veil Wedding Planning Community. You can join by answering 2 questions, whether you're getting married or you're a vendor. And we talk about all kinds of stuff about weddings. You can ask questions. You'll get answered by professional vendors and whatnot, and us most of the time. Check it out on Facebook. Just search it, the From Ring to Veil Wedding Planning Community.
Find us on Facebook. We have our wedding planning resource guide for the Seattle metro area still up for sale on Amazon. You can find that at fromringtoveil.com/RG paperback or RG Kindle. If you search on Amazon, you can search for Seattle wedding planning and we come up right there. Okay, so the family and I took a little vacation before school starts. We ran over to Oregon for the weekend. We did some fun things. We went to the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry, I think is exactly what it's called. They offer weddings there too. I just thought I'd mention that. Really cool place. If you've not been there, take a minute and go there. Take a day and go there, actually. We also went to a place called Mount Hood Adventure Park by Ski Bowl. That was really cool. So basically, it's a ski place during the winter, but during the summer, it's an adventure park. They have a half-mile alpine slide, which was really fun. But what was really cool was they had a wedding there when we were there. We were there on a Saturday. And so we were riding the chairlift just for recreation, just to check out the sights, the scenic thing. And when we were coming down, we saw all these very nicely dressed people going up the ski lift. I'm not exactly sure if they were all, what I'm thinking was the ceremony was up there somewhere on the top where you can see Mount Hood in the distance. It was really pretty and everything. So they do weddings there, and they had a really pretty tent set up with light and all the tables. They had what they called beanbag toss, not cornhole.
Cornhole!
Set up there, and a couple other little things. It just looked like a really pretty place. And my daughter's like, hey, what a good idea. She's like, if I got married, I'd like to get married somewhere unique like this. You know, like who would have thought? Let's go to the adventure park and get married. But I just thought that would be a cool place to mention since we've talked about Oregon a lot of times. But it's called Mount Hood Adventure Park. So go the day before and have a really fun time with all the rides. They have zip lines. They have treetop walks on these really tiny little scary kind of bridges.
Nope.
My whole family did it, right? So you cannot fall because you're hooked in the whole time. You got this harness on. There's nothing, you can't fall. You just can't fall. My daughter got past.
Well, I would fall.
Even if you fall, you're not going anywhere. You're just hanging there. You're really not going anywhere. My daughter got to the second little area where you step off or the platform, and she had to turn around and go back. But the rest of us made it. It was really fun. But like I said, zip lines, they have bungee jumping, they have race cars. It was just a really fun time. And it wasn't too terribly expensive or too terribly full of people. But I just thought it was really cool. They were having a wedding while we were there. And I'm wearing my FRTV swag shirt. So there you go. I just thought I'd mention that.
This week we found 2 articles that we thought we would share with you. They go from how do you feel about changing your last name and also the legal benefits to marriage. We have the links to these articles in the show notes. So look at episode 187 for the show notes and you can check out the link to these articles.
That's right. But before we get to that heavy stuff, I kind of feel like it's heavy stuff, but I mean, it's like Real important stuff. Anyway, let's talk about how it's okay to have more than one dress on your wedding day. I know there's people that are like, I paid so much money, I'm wearing this dress until I go to, fall asleep in bed. And then some people are like, hey, I might want to change out of the form-fitting dress that I can't actually dance in into something really fun for the reception, which is just fine either way. It's happy, and you can do it either way. One of our favorite actresses, Ashley Greene, wore two dresses at her wedding. And so I thought we would share that. There is a link in the show notes, like Shannon said. You can click on that to see the actual dresses. But for her actual ceremony, she wore a column dress, featured a scoop neckline with two straps that perfectly highlighted her slim figure. So it was just really
and her
pretty.
Boobs.
And her boobs. Yeah. Just really, not, I wouldn't say plain, but clean and pretty and classy, and a really long veil. And it was really beautiful. I don't know why, but it reminds me of the Duchess of Essex. Is that right?
Her reception dress.
It's just real pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And then for her reception, she put on something a little different. and as they're just, the article describes it as the ethereal design featured an open back and delicate 3D floral applique from the bodice to the train. So as I can't see it straight on, it looks see-through.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got something else underneath, of course, but it's just basically an overlay of you can see through it, but there's a bunch of the applique floral pieces on there. And we can't see how long it is or anything like that in the picture that we see, but okay, sure. Mm-hmm. If she wanted to have something fun, and I assume she's probably into fashion, so that's why she probably chose to. It's a sheer gown by Wendy Williams. You can wear two dresses if you want to. You don't have to, but you can.
No, I mean, the two dress thing's kind of cool. I mean, I would do something totally, I would wear something shorter or something more fun. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you wear this big, huge dress, it's hard to dance in and it's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I know mine was, but I didn't really like my dress, so.
We just need to redo your freaking wedding, all right? Start saving.
No, thanks.
You obviously love listening to podcasts. Well, have you tried an audiobook? Hi, I'm Kim, and I am an audiobook listener. It's actually my preferred way to, quote unquote, read. And if you haven't tried listening to one yet, go to www.fromringtoveil.com/freebook to get a free audiobook from Audible. I may have just given you your new obsession. All right, now we can go on to the heavies.
So the question is, we're going to put this out there. Should you, brides, change your last name when you get married? You can answer us. You can email us. You can message us on Facebook when this comes out.
Yeah, what are your thoughts? What do you think?
What are your thoughts on this? We have the link to the article so you can read it. She is very opinionated.
Yes.
You can just say that. I'm one of those who say, hey, if you don't want to change it, don't. Because, I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. I have a best friend, or one of my best friends from high school. She didn't change her last name. It hasn't affected her family whatsoever. You know? So.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same thing. It's a personal choice. How do you feel about it, and what makes sense for you and your family, and do that. I don't think there's any hard, fast rule that you have to take your husband's name or anything like that, but you certainly can.
I mean, I took my husband's last name because I didn't like my former last name, and usually when you change your last name or change your name on your Social Security card or anything like that, you put your maiden name. I didn't. I used my middle name and then my new married name. But you have to put your maiden name and then your new last name for your Social Security card. I didn't that because, I went from Holbert to Palmer. So, Much better, easier last name.
Well, in this article, she's very much on the side of not changing her name. It seemed like to me.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like you also have to take into account what your new husband is going to feel. What would they want? What would make them happy? What would support them? You know what I mean? You're now a team unit. And sometimes it's confusing for people. Maybe not so much nowadays, but it's confusing for people to be like, oh, you're married. What's your last name? You know, and they're two different names. It's a little different. And sometimes people will be like, well, what's the story with that? You know, like, because sometimes, let's say you were previously married and you have kids with that previous name. Your new marriage, do you change your name with your kids having a different name? I mean, there's so many factors that go into deciding this. It's really, you have to look into your situation to see what works best for you guys.
So the decisions are, do you keep your last name? Do you hyphenate? Or do you take his name, basically?
Right.
That's your decisions you have to make. If you keep your last name, what names would your kids have? Would they take your husband's last name?
Mm-hmm. Or hyphenate.
Hyphenate, which can be very, very long.
You could also create a new name with the two of your last names, too. You know, that is an option.
I think that's silly. I know, but I think that's silly. Also, in recent years, I have heard of the men taking the woman's last name.
Yeah.
It's not very common.
No.
But I've heard a couple of instances where they have taken their wife's last name. You know, hey, talk about that.
If it suits you. Maybe he's got some ill will or feelings towards his family name and wants to change it, you know? I mean, again, it's totally up to you. But throughout this article, she talks about things like having a career. And if you already have a career and you don't want to change your name, that might be.
And also, you
reason.
know, right. And like actresses and people who are in professional high profile careers, you can change your last name, but still go by your maiden name in your career and whatnot. I mean, that's not a big deal. So if you're established in a career, would you want to change your last name?
Mm-hmm. And then what about your husband? And he wants you to take his name and he wants to make you guys a team with the same name. How's that going to affect him? How's that going to affect your relationship? If you say, no, I'm keeping my name, where he had his heart set on you taking his name. So again, that's something you guys will have to work through. And then the kids, if you do have kids, you have your maiden name, he has his name. What are the kids going to be called?
Well, in the instance of my friend from high school, her kids took on his last name. So, yeah.
Right. So it's a deep and heavy subject there. If
right.
Can be, unless he just is like, I don't care, do whatever you want, kind of thing. Great. Then you have no problem if you want to keep your last name. For me, I took my husband's last name because I want to be my husband's teammate. We are the Millses, it's just, it makes it solidified. It really feels like a team, that's what I wanted to do.
Well, I battled with hyphenating for a long time, but then I'm like, I don't really like my maiden last name, so why would I hyphenate? Because it always got mispronounced, and I hated always,
Oh, mine did too, yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm like, ugh. I'm not going to hyphenate. I don't. And writing all of that out,
I mean, even if you drop your maiden name, that doesn't mean you're not part of the family. That doesn't mean that you're no longer a so-and-so. You are absolutely part of that family forever if you want to be.
Right. And I think, with my side of the family anyway, there are not going to be any more Holberts because, in our line.
Yeah, in your line.
Yeah,
line.
Right. So, because we were two girls and my sister and I. And then I think my cousin, which is the last one there, I think he had a girl too. So,
right.
That's another thing to think of is your line ending. But then how would it go on if your children take his last name? See,
right, exactly.
It's all kind of,
Yep.
There's all kinds of it's an emotional decision.
It is.
And you need to talk with your significant other, your future husband or spouse about how it's going to affect each other.
Yeah.
In the future, down the line. So.
I would say that would be a good thing to talk about before the wedding.
Yeah.
Because if it's like a deal breaker, then you need to find out.
And maybe with a counselor.
Exactly. Somebody that's impartial who can help you through the discussion would absolutely be a benefit for sure. We feel like that's a great way to go anyway, just to get it all out there on the line and figure things out and be happy with what you guys decide. All right, on to legal benefits of marriage. We found this on the Knot, and there's a link there in the show notes from ringtotveil.com/187, or right there in your podcasting app. You can just click on that, and it'll take you to the actual article. I just thought this was a really cool thing when I saw it. I was like, hey, this makes sense. It's nice to know what you're getting when you get married, right? So when it comes to taxes, first thing off is there's a marital tax deduction. You can transfer unlimited amounts of assets to your spouse at any time, free from tax. That also includes leaving assets in your estate for your spouse without estate or gift tax subjection. And I know that there are different rules and laws in each state when it comes to taxes, but I think this is more of a general idea on these, what we're sharing with you.
Right. So the next one is filing taxes jointly. If one spouse stays at home and the other has a high-paying job or just a job, it benefits to file jointly because it combines everything and you get a bigger tax deduction, I think.
Yes.
I'm not big on taxes, but...
Deductions are important. The more you have, the better it will be on you. So,
right.
Yes, if you are like a dependent because you do not have a job and you're not paying taxes through your job, it helps. It helps. Every little bit helps. And, everybody hates paying taxes, so let's just make this as easy as possible. Financial benefits of a marriage.
Social Security benefits. If either you or your spouse don't qualify for your own Social Security benefits, you can receive the other spouse's benefits. So like one of you get disabled and you get your Social Security benefits early instead of after you retire. And
you could also potentially receive Medicare, disability, veterans, military, and pension plans through your spouse. Now, of course, there's always circumstances where you can or can't do these, but this is an option. I do know that my grandmother kept getting my grandfather's after he died. So it worked in her benefit that they were married for so long. And, she was receiving stuff from his. I haven't had a paying job for years now, since before my kids. So it's going to help when it comes to Social Security time that my husband has worked this whole time. It's just very helpful.
Yeah. Prenuptial agreement benefits. Now, this is a touchy subject, but if you come into a marriage with a lot of assets and whatnot, it might be something to look into.
Mm-hmm.
If one person spends a substantial amount of time on a career and the other spends it on raising children, we will compensate the non-moneyed spouse in a prenuptial agreement. So by dividing assets fairly between the spouses should the marriage end. There's all kinds of prenuptial agreements, though.
That's true. That's where you need to sit down with a lawyer.
A lawyer and go over everything and line by line. And
Yep. Make sure it's right.
Read the fine print in your prenuptial agreement because there could be stuff in there like cheating clauses and things like that. So, yeah.
Next, IRA benefits. These are called individual retirement accounts, and they can be used in a few ways in the course of a marriage, including rolling over a deceased spouse's IRA to your own, or you can contribute to the spousal, I guess that would be a jointly owned IRA, which is an account that lets an employed spouse contribute to an unemployed spouse retirement account. That would be nice, right?
You also have legal decision-making benefits. You can have the status as next of kin for hospital visits and like power of attorney and things like that, which grants you the ability to make medical decisions in the event of your spouse becomes sick or disabled.
That's right. And let me tell you this. So I am part of a networking group, and we have a lawyer who is an estate planner, and he talks about this kind of stuff. You have to make sure that you are power of attorney or you have the right to make decisions for your spouse sometimes in certain states, because if you are not specifically named, these things will go to the state. Mm-hmm. And that means they'll be in the courts and you will lose money and you won't get everything that you should get. So you really, really, really need to make sure everything is put in place and that you are each other's power of attorneys. And what happens if both of you are unable to make decisions? Who then gets to make the choices? So it is important, and these are benefits of being married, but make sure you have this all down in writing so nobody can say, well, I think this should go to the state. You know what I mean?
Inheritance benefits. A spouse can inherit an entire state without tax consequences. In some states, you need to check your state tax laws.
Health and employment benefits of marriage. As we all know, health insurance. Most places will offer to cover the spouse and family through that employed spouse's health insurance.
And paternity child benefits. If any issues arise over paternity of a child with a married couple, the married couple may have less of an issue.
That's right. Leave benefits through your employer. You can usually take family leave if your spouse is sick, or bereavement leave if your spouse or someone in your spouse's family passes away. So not only your own family, but your spouse's family.
The emotional benefits of marriage. Being married is contributed to having a longer life. Research consistently shows that couples in a committed marriage even live longer than those who are single, cohabitating, or divorced.
They also say that if you are married, you have less of a chance of developing depression. Of course, no relationship is perfect, but a healthy, functioning marriage can provide stress and anxiety relief in many different forms, encouraging each other to strive for healthier goals, complementing each other's positive qualities, and celebrating each other's successes. I would have to say celebrating birthdays and anniversaries and stuff like that all contribute to better feelings and happier lives. Now, of course, that doesn't mean you're not going to get depressed, but it's less of a chance.
It also provides increased serotonin levels, which is a natural antidepressant. Coming home from a long day at work and having a partner there for physical affection increases positive mood and ultimately intimacy.
And we can get into some stuff here, but there have been shown benefits to intimacy between a husband and wife, and the outcome of that is that there are minerals and vitamins and stuff that a woman might need to help her feel better in this whole intimacy without having to talk about chicka wow wow. There you go. You can look that up for yourself. Just saying. All right. So that was just some of the benefits to marriage. And again, if you'd like to read the whole article, you can find the link in the show notes.
Yeah. We have one more thing we got to talk about, and I can contribute to this because I'm allergic to lots of flowers. And when I used to work with them, if I knew I was working with a certain flower, I would have to double up on my meds, my allergy meds.
Okay.
Like baby's breath. All the weedy type flowers, and the fillers and stuff. I always had to take additional allergy meds. So there was this bride. She went and picked out her flowers for her bouquet herself because she wanted a certain look, and she went in. Some of these flowers in her bouquet she was highly allergic to. Okay. You can click on the link. We have it on our show notes. And she walked down the aisle. Her makeup was ruined. She was basically in pain, really and truly in pain, because her face was swelling. Her hands were swelling. It was in her dress because,
right.
Flowers shed and the pollen gets everywhere. And so she got through the wedding and she went to the hospital and got an allergy shot, but she was still having a reaction because it was in her dress. So her husband had to go into Target and get her clothes so she could change into for her reception. So they went back to the reception. She got better,
right?
Because the shot took effect and everything like that. But you just need to realize, check these flowers out before you pick them for your bouquet. I mean, if you know you're allergic to something, do not get them in your bouquet.
Or even if you suspect you are.
Right. I mean, like lilies, I'm not deathly allergic to lilies, but they will start making me sneeze and make my eyes water and whatnot. And so I know, hey, I need to double up on my meds.
That's right.
That's what if you just double up on your meds, and that's fine. But, I mean, if you have a severe reaction to certain flowers, certain fillers, and things like that, stay away from them.
Good side note there.
Yeah, it basically ruined her day.
Yeah.
And so they went on their honeymoon, and after their honeymoon, she got her dress professionally cleaned and stuff like that, and she made, because her pictures were ruined, everything,
Mm-hmm.
So she got a do-over on her bridal portraits and things like that she took. So
yeah, that's good. I mean, and even, we talked about finding your scent for your wedding. That's something that you also have to be aware of. If you are allergic, or if your spouse or wedding party or somebody's allergic to something, you have to keep that in mind. Because if you've doused yourself in this real pretty nice scent that you picked out for your wedding, but you've got people allergic to it, it's going to cause problems.
Yeah.
Allergic is nothing to sneeze about.
Yeah. I mean, it can be bad.
It can be.
Like, if you have pets in your wedding.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Pets are another thing that people are highly allergic to, like cats and dog dander and stuff like that. So be considerate of others.
Mm-hmm. Hey, and if you are going to have pets, I would say put that on your invitation.
Yeah.
Let people know, or your wedding website or wherever, make notes so that they know. Double up on their meds or whatever it is that they have to do.
Take an extra allergy shot this week. No.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Our timelines and checklists are available at fromringtoveil.com/checklists, $2.99 for over 20 pages. We are happy for you to print those out, use them, write on them, make your checklists. Please just don't print them out for your friends.
We have From Ring to Veil swag available now on our swag store. It's at fromringtoveil.com/TEE. We have t-shirts, bags, totes, notebooks, wedding party t-shirts, all kinds of cute goodies on there. So go look at that website and buy something.
Join our Facebook group if you have not already. You can find us From Ring to Veil Wedding Planning Community. We have over 200 people in our group, and we are happy to have you
subscribe to the podcast everywhere you listen to podcasts. We are on Apple and Alexa and Google and iHeartRadio. Everywhere. We're everywhere.
Until next time, no stress, no worries. Keep calm and listen on. Music provided by bensound.com.